I like to joke that the reason I ended up in this is because I could write my way out of any situation. I said, I spent the day with this guy. He's some famous football player or something. I'm like, his name is Johnny something. And he's like, Johnny? I'm like, Johnny you something. He's like, Johnny Unitas? You spent the day with Johnny Unitas? Apparently he's, a huge sports player. And he never lets me live that one down. Understanding truly the causes behind them and why you would want to be spurred to action. I think you can even understand that on a more deeper level after you've been through so much and seen so many things. I work really fast. I know what I'm doing, and so I can work fast and get things done, which is good when you have to manage so many different things. So, detective.
Ooh.
Well, I'm really good. I love finding out the answers to things,
Yeah.
Which goes along with journalism.
Totally.
So I love that. Or maybe a professional napper.
For 2 decades, I've helped brands earn credibility through PR. Now I'm turning the mic on the storytellers themselves. I'm Melissa DiGianfilippo, founder and CEO of Proof Publicity, and this is Off Deadline, the real stories of reporters, hosts, and media insiders beyond the byline. Welcome to Off Deadline. I'm Melissa DiGianfilippo, and my guest today is Michelle Glicksman. Welcome, Michelle.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here.
You're so welcome. Michelle Glicksman is a 26-year veteran of both local and national media and currently serves as editor-in-chief of Scottsdale City Lifestyle, Chandler City Lifestyle, Scottsdale.com, Arrived, Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Arizona Guestbook. She covers everything Arizona, from people and places to food, drink, and events, and is also recognized as a travel and celebrity writer. Beyond her editorial work, Michelle writes copy for brands of all sizes and consults with businesses on how to gain press. When she's not working, she's with her family, volunteering in the community, and happily avoiding cooking dinner. I happily avoid that too. So we have that in common. What's your favorite thing to order? Favorite restaurant right now?
Oh boy. Sushi, anything sushi, and I have a couple that I rotate through.
Yeah.
So.
I'm not a sushi eater, but my 10-year-old daughter is, and thank God for Uber Eats or DoorDash because we can all get different things and it's fine and it works well. Well, I appreciate you being here. I always like to start with the backstory. How did you decide on, magazine journalism is really what you do mostly. How did you decide on that career path and how did you get your first job?
Oh boy. I like to joke that the reason I ended up in this is because I could write my way out of any situation. So growing up, if I had a paper in school, I would ace it. I just knew how to write. It was just intuitive. Test, not so much. So it just was something that came naturally that I always really enjoyed. I loved reading magazines when I was younger. And so it was just something that I always wanted to do. And I was very fortunate that it's worked out that I could do that.
Yeah. And how did you get a degree in journalism or was it a magazine specific program? And then what was your first job in that field?
I do have a general journalism degree.
Okay.
I actually, so I started working on the high school newspaper, things like that. So I've done it for as long as I can remember. For a brief moment, I thought I wanted to go into television.
Yeah.
I did try that. I worked for a CBS station in New York. I came out here. I worked for a television station here briefly. And then I went back into magazine writing. My first magazine, I worked for several newspapers.
Yeah.
And then my first magazine was Scottsdale Air Park News.
Yeah.
Back in the very late 90s, I think 1999 perhaps, and I was there for a few years.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was my foray into Scottsdale, and I haven't left since.
You are literally like a very familiar masthead name in all of Scottsdale's and really all of the Valley's magazines. Ever since I've been doing PR for 20 years, and I've been pitching you for 20 years, and so
you make my job easy.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you sharing that. And you have 2 kids, and neither of them are writers, right? Like, are they either of them going down that career path potentially?
I think they're both still trying to figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
They're both fabulous writers, but right now neither of them is going down that career path.
Yeah,
so,
fair. Okay.
Yeah.
So now we're going to go into just some of the background. I want to hear about some of the assignments and the things you love and maybe the things that have been hard about your job so far.
Okay.
What assignment has forced you the furthest out of your comfort zone so far?
Okay. I'm not a sports person.
Fair. I'm not either. I pretend well.
I grew up in a household. We were a lot of girls. Obviously, my dad didn't grow up with sports. So I just never had that background. And I've had to do a few sports stories.
Do you have one that like went really wrong? Like what was the like?
Not really wrong. But I will say I've had a couple way back when I was doing television reporting back in New York. One, I had two assignments actually.
Okay.
One, I was sent out. The sports reporter was out for the day, and they asked me to cover. It's training, whatever,
Yeah, something sports with the ball, with the ball, really
for the Mets.
Okay.
And they said, go interview them about the upcoming season. I said, I don't know anything about the upcoming season, and I don't know who the players are. And they're like, well, just go out there and ask them what you should ask them. I said, okay. So it ended up going okay, but that was fun. Another one that is my husband's favorite story is I was sent out to interview Johnny Unitas.
Oh.
But I didn't know who he was.
Okay. Okay.
So I came back after the interview and I said to my husband, and he was there for a different event. It wasn't a sports specific event, but I didn't know who he was. And I came back and was talking to my husband at the time, he was boyfriend at the time. Yeah. And I said, I spent the day with this guy. He's some famous football player or something. I'm like, his name is Johnny something. And he's like, Johnny? I'm like, Johnny you something. He's like, Johnny Unitas? You spent the day with Johnny Unitas? Oh apparently he's, a huge sports player. And he never lets me live that one down. So,
I love it. Yeah, so that definitely pushed you out of your comfort zone. But I assume like once you get into that role of like asking someone questions, you are good at that.
I think that's part of being a journalist. You have to go into situations that you either don't know the content. I've had to write technical stories where I don't know any of that technical, whatever that profession happens to be.
Yeah.
I have to take information and distill it down so that anybody could understand it. And I think that's the hallmark of being a journalist.
Oh, for sure. That means that you're really good when you can make someone understand something complex like sports.
I've gotten better over the years.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. I have not. So my poor boyfriend and his like football obsession, I'm like, you can keep explaining it to me and I will keep nodding. Like, I got it. Yep.
I do have people fact check when I write about sports players now, though.
Yeah.
Did I say that term right?
That's so funny. Okay, tell me about a time that your personal world collided with your professional one.
Oh, okay. So that's fun, actually. I have two children, a son and a daughter, and my daughter is an actress and a model. She's a teenager.
So cool.
And recently we did a fashion spread for Scottsdale City Lifestyle, and we needed models, and she is a professionally signed model.
Yep.
And so we got to use her in the spread, and that was so much fun to be on set with her. And like
watching her in her element, because had you been, I guess as a parent, you probably attended shoots with her before, right?
Yes, I've been on set with her for everything she does.
Yeah,
so,
but then it's like a totally different lens when you're the one kind of calling the shots, or there's a creative director there that you're working with calling the shots, right?
Watching her be in a professional role where my job is to sort of direct and I'm not just there on set as mom. Yeah, I mean, my heart.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
how did she feel about it?
Oh, she loved it.
Yeah, like she had no qualms about like working with you or anything like that.
No, she's used to me on set.
That's good. Good. And when did it already come out?
The fashion shoot was in the September issue of Scottsdale City Lifestyle.
Perfect.
We may be
go check it out.
Yeah, and we may be working with her again. She's a lead in an upcoming movie, so maybe talking to her again.
Can you say the name of the movie?
Sure. It's called Wish Watch. It'll be out next year.
Okay. What is it on, or is it like a movie theater movie or a streaming? It's like so hard these days. I don't know where,
They're still working on some distribution. It's been picked up by Amazon Prime, so it will be on Amazon Prime, and then some other places as well. Yeah.
Oh, so exciting. Well, congrats.
Yeah.
That's like got to be a cool feeling to have a kid, I mean, who's an adult now, I realize, but like go into that field. Like what a fun experience.
Yeah.
What is the most inspiring story that you've been able to tell so far?
Oh, one of the things I love the most about what I do, I talk a lot about the community here. And one of the things I love most is that I get to cover nonprofits.
Yeah.
And telling those stories always touches me. And that's what I'm so grateful to do, as well as telling stories of business people who, had an idea and brought it to fruition.
Yeah.
I think the most inspiring story, or one of the most inspiring stories, is there's a girl who lives here whose name is Aubrey, who lost her leg to cancer.
Oh.
And her attitude just blew me away. She's so inspiring, so positive, and just doesn't let anything stop her.
Yeah. So I love that you said that, because for me, like it sounds like you get energy and energized from probably like hearing those stories and being able to retell them in a way people can like, really buy into and feel a feeling, right? Mm-hmm. And for me, like I love working with clients or people, like same nonprofits who I get energized and ideas and like flowing and creativity just from like listening to their story and their like come up from nothing to something or tragedy to overcoming. Do you ever find like you get a spark and get excited and like want to do something else when you interview those people? Or how do you like take that energy and do you just put it all into the story? Like what do you do with that?
Absolutely. I try to put it into the story.
Yeah.
And yes, I mean, I think that you get so energized by other people.
Yes.
And it helps re-inspire you for what you do and how you live your life.
Yeah, it totally does. Like that's my favorite part of my job, at least. I like it's like listening to those stories and then you get a chance to put them in your own words. So that's really nice. What's the most memorable food, drink, or place you've ever covered, and why did it stick with you?
Oh, gosh.
you covered a lot. Like, you must, like, go to every restaurant opening I see on Instagram. Like, you get invited everywhere.
I do, so that's a very hard question. Mm-hmm. I have been very, very fortunate to be so involved in the community and to watch it grow and new places open and experience things locally around the world. I think one of my most memorable, I really, really was impressed by Christopher's at Wrigley Mansion. Chef Christopher Gross is just amazing. And what he's done there, from just the location to the thought he puts into every dish, is just, it's one of the ones that always sticks out in my mind. And when people ask me where to go for a special occasion, or I guess an everyday occasion, depending, that always pops into mind.
I love that place. It feels like you're in like a fairy tale land when you just drive up to the Wrigley Mansion even.
Yes.
Like it's such a unique experience.
The history of the mansion itself and then the space that they have for Christopher's, it's just magical.
Nice. And then, do you have a favorite? Like, what part of the valley do you live in again? Are you Scottsdale area?
I'm in the Scottsdale area.
Okay, so do you have like a go-to, like low key, dinner spot with your husband that's like not there?
Not there. Yes and no.
Okay.
I say more no because when you have kids, it's really just
sports and things and
exactly. What drive-through is the easiest on your way home? What can we grab? Subway, Chick-fil-A, just whatever it is. So
you just kind of
the days fly by and I don't know what I eat most of the time.
Yep, I totally get it. But you do get to go to cool places, so
yes, I'm very fortunate.
That's amazing. What's the impossible deadline that you somehow pulled off?
I feel like that's every month lately.
I'm sure. And you have so many magazines that you're editor-in-chief of. Like, how do you manage all those deadlines too? But 2 questions.
In managing the deadlines, I've just been doing it so long that it's sort of, I just know my workflow. I know what needs to be done. Some days this gets done. Some days that gets done.
Yeah.
That said, there are always hiccups. They seem to be more and more frequent. However, one that always sticks out in my mind is one year we were going to press on a magazine, and it was Friday, probably about 4:30. So basically, everything's already shut down. Everyone's gone for the day.
Yep.
And we got a call that we had to pull our cover, which was going to press on Monday morning.
What do you even do in that situation?
Panic. No. I just got into work mode and made a lot of calls and pulled in connections. And thankfully, it was one celebrity that had to pull out. We had to scrap everything. And I was able to secure another celebrity for the cover for that month. And somehow we made it to press. And I will forever be grateful to the person who said yes to me, stepped in,
wow.
and just made it happen, talked to me on a Saturday, and we just pulled everything together, and it was at the printers by Monday morning.
Wow. Because you have to get a new photo shoot. Or you had
I think for that one, usually we try to do photo shoots, but I think for that one, the person happened to be
they had like photography recently done or
yeah,
something.
they were in New York, and they had photos that they had done, and we were lucky enough to be able to use them for that shoot. But
wow.
But yeah.
And so with managing multiple magazines now, you must get pitched by PR people like all the time for, I don't even know if it's clear which magazine they're pitching you for, or they're just hoping you put it in one of them. How do you manage all of that incoming ideas and then like those deadlines of each one, and some of them have quite different content. I mean, Chandler versus Scottsdale, right? Like, or even the Arrived is a different kind of book than a monthly magazine, right? So
Arrived is more for the visitor market here.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people just pitch me in general, and that's great because certain things can go into different publications, certain things go into this just one. Luckily, most of them, they overlap, but they don't. They all have their own focus.
Yeah.
For example, Arrived is for the visitor market. Scottsdale City Lifestyle is for Scottsdale. Scottsdale.com is also Scottsdale, but it's more a daily type of a thing.
Yeah.
So they're all, and Chandler obviously is Chandler. Yeah. So they're all a little bit different focus. And so even if there's a topic that warrants coverage in multiple publications, I can take different angles and write different stories.
Okay.
So I just tell the story in a different manner.
Yeah. That's good. And you've probably learned to manage the multiple inboxes or something. I don't know how you do that, but
they actually all flow into one. And it just kind of just keeps scrolling off my screen.
Okay, good. So make your pitch stand out. Like, So
if I don't answer you, just email me again because it probably just scrolled off and I missed it.
Yeah, totally. And I'm curious, we didn't talk about this ahead of time, but how has AI changed how you do what you do now?
I think it's an evolving industry. And I think it's just starting to hit, because I do so much local stuff, I think it's a little bit different. And thankfully it's not affecting too much at the moment in terms of changing how we do things.
Okay, that's good. But I feel like there's got to be some benefits because I see it. In my world, I'm also very cautious because
you have to be very cautious.
I use it for like idea generation, and then it's like, how do we take those ideas and then put them into our own content?
I think that's in the media industry, whether you're on the PR side or the media side, I think that's how you have to use it. You have to be very careful. You don't want to, use it for more than that. It's just, you want the writer's own voice.
Yeah.
You want to be telling your story authentically. I know there's algorithm things, there's copyright, just so many things. So, I think the way that you're mentioning is how I'm seeing the industry use it right now.
Yeah, that's good. It seems like there's been more adoption and like understanding when a year ago we were hearing like, don't use it, it's horrible, at least from like the journalism world. So it's nice to see the adoption. I'm just curious like what's going to happen, and I really hope, we saw a lot of jobs change this year in our market and across the country. The journalism's changing dramatically, but I really hope that it ends up being a positive switch where like we end up needing more humans in those roles when we realize that you can't just automate. Like we're not getting the same clicks, we're not getting the same like interest,
I think you can tell an AI voice versus a personal experience and a personal voice. And I think that does matter.
Yeah. Oh, big time. Yeah. Okay. What unexpected life experience made you better at your job?
Oh. Life throws a lot of things at you. Personally, I've had a very rough few years with some family members with pretty severe health issues, and I've been helping manage and dealing with all of that. But going through that and going through what they go through, both from the management side of it and just seeing what they go through and helping and all of that, I think makes you approach other people's stories in an even in a different manner. While there's always empathy and there's always, like we talked about before with the nonprofits, understanding truly the causes behind them and why you would want to be spurred to action. I think you can even understand that on a more deeper level after you've been through so much and seen so many things.
Yeah, I'm sorry for the health issues. That's the one thing that I think is very scary in life because it's unavoidable, right? Like in most cases, and it's always usually a surprise. But to have that like ability to kind of take that learning and apply it to your work, that's really interesting, and making you maybe a better journalist. So that's great. Okay. I want to go through some rapid fire questions. Okay, so your job is to say the first thing that comes to mind. Okay, and I want a little story with it. Like that would be great too. Okay.
I'll try my best.
Yes. Okay. What's your go-to comfort food, drink, or ritual when the pressure's on?
Oh, boy. Pizza, chips, and chocolate chip cookies.
Ooh, like actual chips, not like French fries, right?
Like actual potato chips, which is really bad.
Yum. Pizza's my jam too.
Late at night, working on deadline at 3 a.m., you just kind of, yeah.
It's comfort food.
It is. It is.
The name of the game. Do you have a favorite pizza place in the Valley right now, like today?
The part of it's dependent on near where you live, but I personally, it's not very close to me, but I love Yopali's. It just reminds me of my New York home pizza.
Yeah, I haven't been there. I'll have to try it.
New York pizza.
Yum. I love Pomo and Grimaldi's and The Parlor. I would say those are my top 3.
Okay.
Your secret journalistic superpower.
I work really fast.
Okay.
I know what I'm doing, and so I can work fast and get things done.
Yeah.
Which is good when you have to manage so many different things. So.
No joke. Yeah. How many hours do you think you work a week?
I probably work, I don't know, 60, 80.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Because that counts like going to events that you have to go show your face at and all of that too. Yeah, that's a lot. What's the first concert you went to?
Steve Miller Band at Jones Beach.
Ooh, is that in New York? Okay.
Yeah.
So it was an outdoor concert?
It's an outdoor concert, yeah.
It must have been so
They have a concert venue there.
Yeah.
So
that's a great first concert.
It was, yep.
What's on your bucket list that might surprise people?
Bucket list. So one of the most favorite things that I do is travel writing.
Yeah.
I love to see the world, and I still have not seen the Northern Lights. I actually saw them a little bit when they were here. Like you could see a little bit, like a year or two ago. Yeah, and I did catch some, but I just would love to go see the Northern Lights. So that's still on my bucket list, and hopefully one day I'll be able to do that.
That's awesome. I would love to as well. What's your favorite place you've traveled to so far?
I was picking a favorite child.
I know. I guess you're right. That is really hard.
I love Europe. All of Europe. I don't know if I can pick a favorite, but I just love Europe. So.
And you taking your kids there?
We did. Yeah, we did a big family trip there a couple years ago. And, I just wanted to show them all the history and different culture. And it just,
I can't wait to do that with my girls. Yeah. Okay. If I weren't in this career, I'd be...
Probably either a medical researcher or a detective.
Ooh.
Well, I'm really good. I love finding out the answers to things,
Yeah.
Which goes along with journalism.
Totally.
So I love that. Or maybe a professional napper. That sounds really good
That
too.
sounds like a great
Is that a job? Because if so, I'd like it.
Let's make that a job. I love it. Thank you so much for doing this with me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's so wonderful to talk to you and to be here.
Good.
Really appreciate it.
Of course.